Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Reviews by Hunter. That's me. I am Hunter, and today I'm reviewing The Running Man. 2025's The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wright. This is a rated R sci-fi adventure film that is 2 hours and 13 minutes. I actually saw this movie gosh, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and I'm like just now getting to it. Yes, it was released on November 14th. So let's get into it. This review will have some spoilers. So if you're not a fan of that, you may want to click on another video. Speaking of The Running Man, I hope that you got a notification if you're a subscriber and ran to your YouTube app to check out this video. Okay, anyways, so let me give you a synopsis of The Running Man. So it's based off Stephen King's 1982 novel that follows Ben Richards, who in this movie is played by Glenn Powell. He lives in this dystopian style timeline, and Richards is a hard worker, but he's been fired from like almost every job he's had for being, well, problematic. He's very short on cash. He is definitely lower class in this film, and his daughter is incredibly sick, so he's trying to support his wife and his very sick daughter. But he's having a hard time finding work until he joins this reality TV show that promises riches called The Running Man. And this is a contest, a reality TV show, where contestants that are called runners, they have to try to evade or kill what are called hunters who are after them. They are severely outmatched and severely outgunned, but the goal is to stay alive for 30 days. Another important rule, too, for this contest is that I believe if you die before the end of the 30 days, your family earns no money. And this contest is sort of, well, it's entertainment for America. It's on a volunteer only basis, so people volunteer for the contest, but once you're in, you can't back out. And let me just say something real quick. I also saw this year a movie based off a Stephen King novel called The Long Walk. And I'm just going to tell you now, I think that The Long Walk was infinitely better than this movie. And I'll explain why. But first, let's get into the cast. There is a lot of recognizable names for this cast. Of course, we got Glenn Powell as Ben Richards. I'm a fan of Glenn Powell. We have Josh Brolin, who is our main antagonist. He plays this evil producer who's kind of in control of, well, everything, named Dan Killian. We have Coleman Domingo, who I wasn't super familiar with his work, but I looked it up, and I guess he actually has a role as the Cowardly Lion in Wicked for Good, which just came out. I have a review for that up as well. We have Lee Pace, who plays one of the main hunters named Evan McCone. He actually also played Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't realize that. We have Michael Cera as well. He plays a side role as Elton. Daniel Ezra is in this movie. He does have a small role. He plays Bradley Throckmorton. You will recognize Daniel Ezra from the Netflix show about a young football player called All American. We also have William H. Macy, who, again, has a small role, and you will recognize him from Shameless. And then Amelia Jones, who plays Amelia Williams, another side character. So, I mean, a pretty good cast. Let's get into the pacing. The pacing wasn't my favorite in this film. It felt a little bit all over the pace. It felt a little bit all over the place. It starts off pretty fast, I would say, with some decent action. It gives us the basic premise that Richards is, on the lower end of the totem pole when it comes to, upper class, middle class, lower class, and he wants a way to get his family out of this place because it's just it's not sustainable for them to live in. And so the first act I thought was pretty good. You do have some decent action, pretty generic and basic like backstory for Richards. But other than that, I felt like in the second and third act, the pacing kind of just it slows down, and not in a good way, like not in an intentional slow burn, but just in a. I think the writers didn't know where to go with the story at a certain point. Even like I know it's based off a novel, but I don't know. It didn't really work for me in the second and third act the way it was paced. It felt like a slog fest to get through, to be honest. Now, let me talk about the performances in this film. Because there's been a lot of talk about that. First off, we have to start with Glenn Powell, our main character, our antagonist. I think Glenn Powell in this movie is good. I enjoyed his work in both Twisters and I believe Top Gun Maverick. But I think maybe Glenn Powell was potentially miscast because he's trying to play this really angry character, he is full of rage. He's angry at the world. He is the most mad individual in all of America. And I just couldn't completely buy into that. Because in his previous movies that I just mentioned, he plays more of like a hotshot, pretty boy, chill kind of character with a heart of gold. And he's good at that. So this role seems kind of the opposite, and I don't think he does bad, but I wasn't in love with this version of Glenn Powell, I guess you could say. It didn't feel 100% authentic because I'm like, dude, Glenn Powell seems like such a chill guy, bro. So again, it's not that he's bad. I just think they could have maybe actually found someone that suits a role like this better. Josh Brolin. I mean, he's Josh Brolin. He's Thanos, right? He's great at playing villains. He's great at playing antagonists. And he does a good job in this one, too. He's very evil. All he cares about is ratings and money. He doesn't care about people's families. He doesn't care about people's well-beings. He is all about killing people for sport as long as it lines his pockets. And he's kind of the puppet master in this film, pulling the strings behind everything. So he does a really great job. Coleman Domingo, again, I mentioned earlier, not super familiar with him, but I thought he had great screen presence. He was fun to watch when he was on the screen. He plays like the host of the show, so he kind of gets people pumped up for the show, and he's kind of responsible for painting the contestants as really, really terrible people that kind of deserve to get hunted down. And he hypes up the hunters as like the nation's heroes, okay? So yeah, overall, I mean, the performances were pretty good. I didn't have a problem with the acting. I thought it was solid. But nothing that was so like amazing that it saves the movie to the point where I would really, really recommend it to people or want to sit down and watch it again. Now that I've talked about the performances, the action. I genuinely thought there would be more action. Like, it's not bad, but nothing super stuck out to me. The fast-paced action of the first act, it didn't really do a good job though of like setting up a lot of riveting character development or arcs. It's just very fast. And there is a cool, fun chase sequence that ends up in a building being blown up. But that's kind of like my most memorable fight scene from the film, other than there is a big showdown at the end that takes place on a plane. And again, that was cool, but it was, again, the big problem I have with this film is a lot of stuff feels generic. Like the action felt generic, the pacing felt sloppy. Again, the performances were great, but nothing about the movie really pulled me in. You know what I mean? So the action doesn't really save this film for me. There's so much better action films that have come out this year. And as far as the themes, right? This movie definitely wants to send a message about rich versus poor and what people are willing to do, how much people on the short end of the stick are willing to take. And it also wants to send a message about how the media can control the narrative of everything, which I'm not against the message of that, but the way that it plays out in this movie didn't work for me because it was off-putting once I realized how much control Dan Killian and his team have over this contest, right? I forgot, one of the rules of the contest is every day they have to submit a short, like a 1-minute video recording proving that they are still alive. And I can't remember, I'm assuming if they don't submit it, then they're disqualified from the contest via, well, death. And so there are times where our antagonist, Richards, tries to do a recording exposing the network, exposing the government, trying to tell people the truth about what's going on. And the network will almost instantaneously change it and edit it to make him sound like he's saying the most terrible things possible, and of course hiding the truth. Here's why I didn't like that. They gave the antagonists so much control and so much of an advantage over the antagonist that I felt like there wasn't very high stakes, because what happens is Richards realizes, oh, this contest, it's all about ratings. As long as I keep bringing them in good ratings, they're not going to kill me, right? The network ultimately actually decides like when people die, and it depends on their ratings. So once that's established in the film, it doesn't feel like Ben Richards is actually on the run anymore. It feels like he is kind of bulletproof because the network needs him. Killian needs him to boost his ratings. And I just wasn't a fan of that, because also after that's established, I thought the action, the little bits of it that we got went downhill. Um, Also the ending. Oh, before I get to the ending, Amelia's role in this story was weird. Amelia Jones played Amelia Williams. She just gets like forced into the movie. So from what I remember, he's trying to make it somewhere. He's trying to cross the border, and he hijacks this woman's car, Amelia, who then somehow through this like little mini speech, because she's wearing a scarf, and he gives a speech about like, I bet your scarf costs more than my family's lives or something like that. And this man who has hijacked her at gunpoint and everything, she doesn't know him. She was never in the story beforehand. There's no pre-existing relationship between the two. All of a sudden, she's like, well, I need to prove that I'm a good person. Like this whole car sequence was like, oh, um, I'm not a bad person. I'm going to show you. So now she's committed to helping this guy who's on the running man, who's on the run, accomplish what he's trying to accomplish. It was the way they did it was very forced. I was not a fan of the way that they used her character. All of a sudden, she's willing to risk her life for this guy that is hijacks her vehicle, has a weapon in the car, and now she's sorry, everybody. Phone died. Not died. I ran out of storage again. I really gotta clean that up. Anyways, yeah, all of a sudden Amelia's willing to do anything for this guy, and it just didn't feel authentic at all. That like third act of I think that was the third act of him crossing the border, pretty much kidnapping Amelia until she's like, well, I'm gonna help you because I'm not a terrible rich girl. I was like, okay, whatever. So the ending is basically where this movie completely kind of just lost me. The ending is weird, it's a bit sloppy, and I did not like the editing of the end either. Basically, Richards is on this plane. He's been offered by Dan Killian essentially an offer that is join us or die. And he's also told Richards that he's already killed his family, so he might as well stop fighting to save them and just join them because they could both make so much money. Obviously, Richards basically tells him to go, F himself. And what happens is there's this big showdown on the plane. It's him and like, I want to say there was two pilots that are also hunters, maybe one or two other members of the plane that were hunters, and then Lee Pace's character, the main hunter, who we find out used to be a runner, and he took the deal that Richards didn't in the past and became a hunter. And just from the way he was talking about it, I guess he deeply regrets it, and like he thinks he says, I'm doing you a favor by killing you, because this life isn't any better. His character was again, there's not a lot of great character development, so it's hard to talk about the characters. Before that, he was just like a mystery man, and I forget what they call him in the movie, but he's like their number one hunter, and he wears a mask throughout the whole movie until Richards forces him to take it off. So Killian basically says, okay, have it your way, after Richards dispatches of everybody on the plane with the help of Amelia. Again, random woman who's known this man for 10 minutes and is now putting her life on the line for him. So he shoots down the plane that Richards is in, and it seems that he is, well, deceased, except he escapes somehow. And then there was this really weird, like, conspiracy theorist cut where this guy in the movie is going over all of the ways that, this is all a big, I don't, just like, oh, is there a chance that Richard survived? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And so what happens is the truth, and I forget how this even happens, but the truth about the corruption of the government and the network reach the public, and once that happens, they start to revolt. Killian thinks that, oh, no way that they'll switch sides like that, so he tries to go out there himself and get everybody excited for what comes next of the Running Man, except literally the building, like, people are revolting, things are on fire, people are pissed. The cork has come off the bottle, and the people now know the truth. Um, a man dressed in all black and in a mask is slowly approaching Killian as he's on the ground, and he pulls down his mask and reveals that it is Ben Richards. And he says something along the lines of I told you I would end you, or something like that, and he shoots him in the face and kills him. And I mean, that was pretty much it. Um, I after watching The Long Walk, another movie based off a Stephen King novel, which is also my second or third favorite movie of the year. Yes, I was excited for The Running Man when I heard that yet another movie based off a Stephen King novel was coming out, and this one was just not very fun for me. Um, it's okay. There's a lot of actors in here and actresses that you may recognize and want to support. I don't remember the rating I gave it out of theater, but honestly, after reliving some of these scenes in my head, I'd give it about a 6 out of 10. I would. It's fine. It's a fine one-time popcorn flick that you can wait to come out on streaming. Um, and also, I never felt like I cared about Richard's family. Again, going back to poor character development in this film, we really only see them like at the very beginning, and then I think there's a short, like 1 minute, hey, now the daughter has her medicine and she's all better at the end. But like, we don't get to know his family. We don't get to really know the daughter or the wife. I don't even know if the daughter had a speaking role. Like, there's no reason for me there's no reason for me to be attached to his family, which is the whole reason that he enters this death trap of a contest. Um, I will say, so the movie, I mean, it kind of reminded me of a worse version of like a Hunger Games mixed with The Purge, right? The Hunger Games, because you have the televised hunting of people for sport for the rich higher ups entertainment, and The Purge because of the extreme government control, again, killing lower class citizens for sport just because the rich think that they are above everyone. Again, both of these messages aren't bad, but the execution in this film is not very good. A lot of people have said they are kind of disappointed with Edgar Wright because he has had better films. I'm gonna pull some up right now. Because Edgar Wright is one of the more popular filmmakers in Hollywood. He has been the director for Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He was also the director for Ant-Man. Didn't know that. So he has some pretty good films under his belt, and this one just did not hit. Oh my god, he's also the director for the animated movie Sing from 2016. I freaking love those movies. You should go watch those if you haven't. Yeah, this one didn't work for me. Let's go ahead and talk about how it's doing at the box office. It's the one thing I didn't research before making this video, but we can Google it real quick, okay? So budget for The Running Man, I think it was 100 million. Oh, it was 110 million for the budget. And as far as how it's performing, according to Google, it has earned an estimated 28.2 million worldwide at the box office. It's not even close to breaking even. This is a box office failure. It needed to earn about 275 million to break even. They lost money on this film. They lost money. Wow, that is not good. And then as far as what other people were rating it, let's see what the Rotten Tomato score was. Real quick, we're gonna search that up. The Running Man. Don't you guys love how I come unprepared like every video? Okay, so according to Rotten Tomato score, 64%. I mean, what did I say, guys? It's a 6 out of 10 movie. It's a 6 out of 10 movie. Um, in my opinion. And again, sci-fi adventure, it wasn't super adventurous. And the sci-fi was there wasn't again anything that was super like, oh wow, that's super creative or that's really cool or that's visually stunning. That's another thing. The cinematography was also just generic. But I've kind of rambled about this as long as I think I need to. That's my review for 2025's The Running Man. It's just okay. If you're a huge Glenn Powell fan or Josh Brolin or Michael Cera, go ahead and go to the theaters to watch this movie. I think you can wait for it on streaming. I really do. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you liked the film, let me know. Let me know what you liked. If you didn't like the film, let me know what you didn't like. Is there anything I left out? Is there anything you wanted me to touch base more on? If so, I would love to hear the feedback. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Peace out.